Hey, I'm Imi, and over the past year I've been on an exciting journey, learning new skills, picking up new hobbies, and trying to figure out what I truly love doing in my spare time. Welcome to my series Rediscovering Myself in My 30s. In the series, I'll share my experiences, challenges, and successes as I dive into a variety of activities and interests. Whether it's climbing, cooking, gardening, crocheting, knitting, building out a bike, or something entirely new, I hope to inspire you to explore your passions and maybe even discover a new favourite pastime. Join me as we embark on this adventure of self-discovery together. Don't forget to like the video if you liked it, and subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you never miss an episode in this series. Okay, grab a cup of tea and let's get into it. Okay, so we're heading to South Dakota tomorrow. We're going climbing, camping, hiking, and just generally exploring. And I thought this would be a great opportunity to talk about climbing and basically outdoor hobbies, getting into outdoor hobbies. I was very much into things like hiking, trail running, and a little bit of backpacking before I moved to the US. But since moving to Denver, I feel like my outdoor hobbies have completely exploded. That's the first category we're going to be talking about. So let's go to South Dakota and talk about climbing, hiking, backpacking, camping, all that outdoor stuff. Trust me when I say I never thought I'd be brave enough to tie a rope to a harness I willingly put on and scale the side of a really, really big rock. I was never really interested in climbing when I lived in London. Not to mention I am terrified of heights. But slowly my interest was piqued and I gave bouldering a go. Then my husband suggested we learn to top rope. And before I knew it, we'd completed our top rope course, signed up to do a lead course, and I was willingly falling off the wall waiting to be caught. It was both exhilarating and terrifying, physically challenging and mentally stimulating. All of a sudden, a year had passed and I was pushing myself, jumping and falling, willing to take a chance and give each climb everything I had. I was even brave enough to complete my first outdoor lead climb, which is a pretty big deal for me considering not that long ago I couldn't even top out in a gym, because I was really scared. The best thing about climbing is that it inevitably includes other hobbies I love, like camping nearby and hiking a little to get to the start of the route. For me, it was all about instinct, dipping my toe into a new hobby and allowing myself to immerse myself when I felt the most excited by it and shy away a little when my confidence waned. I feel very lucky to have discovered a hobby that physically challenges me and completely gets me out of my own head. Hours can whiz by without my phone in my hand or a thought for anything in the world, and my mental health has really appreciated it. Another surprising benefit of picking up a new hobby with my husband is the uninterrupted quality time we get to spend together. We truly have each other's lives in our hands, and the trust that we've built through learning together has been immeasurable. And honestly, a really beautiful consequence of such a demanding activity. This trip to South Dakota was pretty special. We got to camp in a state park, climb in a state park, and then visit Badlands, which is just another world. If you've ever been to Moab, then think that this is like a little Moab. Badlands certainly amazed us. It's definitely a trip to remember. So this year I decided to plant fewer seeds because I'm not really going to be here for a lot of the summer. And I didn't want to plant something that would just shrivel up and die while I'm not here. But this year I am going to do something different. I am going to ask someone to come and water the plants while I'm not here. I was very lucky that most of my plants survived last year when we were away for 3 weeks in Michigan. So this year I have planted a bunch of different seeds, half flowers and half edible things. Lots of cucumbers, squash, even some butternut squash that might be successful this year, who knows. I planted some cherry tomatoes. They did so well last year. I literally got hundreds of them. I planted some garlic that was pretty random, just it started sprouting and I thought what an experiment this could be. And then some peppers, chilies, things like that. And only one of my tomatillo plants has survived. But it's doing well. I might plant one more. I'm not sure if you need more than one tomatillo plant to pollinate, but I will figure that out. I also decided, as you can see, to plant my own seeds in little pods for the lettuce grow. The lettuce grow is quite expensive to buy seedlings, and I thought if I can do it myself, why not give it a go? So that's why I've planted some seeds in there. In there I have things like jalapenos, various different flowers. We have some zinnias and some dwarf cosmos. So we'll see how well they do. And also I think I did put some like light green courgettes, zucchinis. So we'll see what happens. But I really love to experiment in the garden because whether things work or they don't work, it's always a surprise. And gardening has just been one of those things that's been so good for my mental health. I think one thing that will become apparent, which probably has already become apparent throughout this video, is now that I'm in my 30s, a lot of the hobbies that I choose really seem to be very aligned with trying to keep my mental health in just a really positive place. I think of myself as a very happy person. I have a lot of joy in my life, but the last couple of years have been extremely stressful. Moving to the US was very stressful. Figuring out US taxes and back taxes and all those kinds of things was very stressful. My job changed a lot when I moved here, which was also very stressful. And now I'm really thinking about scaling back from other platforms and focusing only on YouTube, because this is where my heart is. This is the platform I personally love the most, apart from of course Patreon. YouTube and Patreon are going to be the two platforms that I predominantly use. And so thinking about that, how to make that work, has also been a little stressful. And things like gardening, making things, really taking that time and being, allowed to have that time to really focus on things that just take my mind away from everything else has been very, very, very good. So yeah, gardening has been a really big one for me, but maybe let's move on to some of the hobbies that have been taking up a lot of my time recently. We've been making a lot of stuff around here. I unraveled the cardigan that I made. Was the first knitting project I ever made. It was the first knitting project I ever undertook, and now I decided to completely unravel it and redo it right, because there were obviously so many problems. It was my first ever knitting project, and I basically finished it now, so I'm just sewing up the seams. Then I'm gonna block it. I actually never blocked it before, and I'll show you how much of a difference that blocking actually makes. So if you make something and you're worried that it's too small, then wait till you've blocked it, because that makes a huge difference. But yeah, I am just doing this right now. I'm also making some sourdough discard crackers to go with a vegan cheese board that I'm making. I'm testing out a lot of recipes on homemade vegan cheese, because there are a lot of shit ingredients in a lot of the vegan cheeses in supermarkets. So I want to try and make some myself. When I lived in London, there was a really great company called Kinda Co, and they made the best cheese, and I wish there was something a bit more like that here, and it was like small batch, all that kind of stuff. So I'm trying to learn. I've made an almond cheese, but I'm going to try and learn how to make proper cultured cheese. I think that would be very good. But right now I'm just doing an invisible seam along the sides. I really wanted a new knitting project, but I kind of felt like, why don't I just try and redo something, something that I already own. I find knitting, like cotton and stuff like that, can be quite expensive. And I didn't really want to buy, some new things and stuff like that, or try and go thrifting and find a jumper to unravel quite yet. I thought, why don't I just use something that I already have and learn something new by redoing a project. So I was able to learn how to unravel something properly and make, balls again. And now I'm making this cardigan again into something that I'll actually wear. I wasn't wearing it before because it was, full of mistakes. It was an odd length and the cuffs were different. But I'm convinced that once I block it and I finished, that it will actually be perfection. Okay, so I'm currently on a new crochet project because I had a bunch of different yarn left over. Like I had this left over from this project, and then I had some of this left over from the bucket hat that I made, and I'd be making some like little daisy squares. And I'm really enjoying this because I'm just taking it very slowly and I'm just kind of making them whenever I want to, which is really nice. But I was just thinking, when I was in New York last year with my friend Amy, she had a crochet top on that honestly everyone that we went past kind of admired it and was like, oh, that's so beautiful. So I thought I'd got her to send me some videos of her wearing it so that I could try and recreate it. Her one was not with like sunflower or daisy flower. They were kind of geometric patterns. But I thought daisies would be really cute. I'm in two minds though. I'm like, should I make this or should I make another blanket? Because my friend is just about to have a baby. And I thought that could be cute. Either way though, I'm gonna go and continue making these because I want to use up all the yarn that I have left. I hate waste. You know, I've been thinking a lot about what actually is a hobby? Like, what makes a hobby? Is there a definition for it? Or is it something that we simply do for fun? Is it something that we simply do for pleasure, enjoyment? What is it? I think nowadays there's a huge tendency, especially if you work online, to turn every single hobby into part of your job. And I think sometimes it's really important to have things that are just for you, just for yourself. There are definitely a bunch of hobbies that I have not shared on the internet that I have been learning and spending a lot of time doing and all of that kind of stuff. But there are plenty of hobbies that I have just naturally brought into my content. Yeah, and it just made me think a lot about how much value we put on hobbies, what it really means to have a hobby. Maybe let's look it up. Okay, so the Oxford Dictionary says that a hobby is an activity done regularly in one's leisure time for pleasure, or a hobby is an activity that you're doing in your spare time. So it's something that you're dedicating your time to. You genuinely enjoy it because you're using your spare time to do it. This has really made me think, maybe I'm picking up a lot more hobbies because obviously moving to Denver, I didn't know anybody else. I did have a lot of spare time after work that if it wasn't taken up by getting, trying to thrift stuff for the house or trying to do some work or, just hanging out with my husband, those kind of things. It made me realize that actually I had time finally to spend working on, not necessarily working on hobbies, but like discovering hobbies and looking at new things to decide what it is that I actually enjoy doing. Obviously, when I lived in London, like all of my best friends still live there. I grew up in London, so all my best friends are my school friends, and a lot of my university friends moved to London. A lot of my friends I made at work when I had a different job. Everyone still lived in London, so all of my spare time was taken up by hanging out with my friends, doing activities with them. And yeah, I guess some of those were hobbies, but a lot of them was just social time, just spending really good quality time with my friends. And obviously since moving here, it's been very slow meeting new people and hanging out with new people. And definitely climbing has become a social hobby because we have a friend that we climb with every Wednesday, we climb with every Monday. I'm slowly introducing more people into that kind of like social hobby, but definitely having a lot of spare time without necessarily people to spend time with has given me that opportunity, I think, to discover a lot more hobbies. Also, I'm actually going to do a video about making friends as an adult or making friends in your 30s. I think that has been a very interesting experience for me. So if you are interested, let me know in the comments and make sure to subscribe so that you don't miss that video. But yeah, I'm going to get back to this later. I have to go to the dentist again. So yeah, we'll pick this up in a bit. So someone the other day actually critiqued my technique when it comes to crocheting, except not only did they say that my technique was bad, it was so bad that I had no technique at all. And this really made me laugh, because when did hobbies become something that you have to be good at? That just seems completely counterintuitive and absolutely bizarre. Obviously, it's great if you are good at a hobby, if you can make things that are beautiful, or whatever your hobby is, be good at something. But also at the end of the day, the only thing that truly matters is that you enjoy it. As we talked about earlier, the whole point of hobbies is something that you do for enjoyment in your spare time. So I want you to take this as a note that you do not have to be good at your hobbies, and you do not have to share them either if you don't want people to say anything. I share my hobbies because I want to inspire you to try something new. And I want to show you that you don't have to be really good. Yeah, maybe the things that I make turn out pretty well, but if I don't have technique, who cares? Because this person might think that I don't have technique, but I have a technique that works for me, that's comfortable for me. I've certainly tried other techniques and, doing the proper thing that other people do, the continental method or whatever, but I don't like it, so why would I do it? It makes the whole process of that hobby not enjoyable. So yeah, this is a lesson to say, don't listen to other people. You don't have to be good at your hobbies. All that matters is that you enjoy it and that it brings joy to your life. Okay, that's my rant over. I just want you to really enjoy your hobbies, and I don't want you to give up because you don't think you're good enough at it, or because someone tells you that you're not good at it either. Okay, I'm making progress on this. I'm really, really intrigued to see how it turns out, but worst case scenario, if it looks terrible as a top, I can always make it into a blanket or a table runner or something else. But I mean, it's quite cute at the moment. But anyway, before this video gets too long, I just want to say thank you so much for watching. I want to hear about your hobbies, any hobbies that you're starting, especially later in life, because I remember I talked about this in my first video. When I left school, I really concentrated on building my career and getting a proper job and trying to climb that ladder and all that kind of stuff that I was taught at my school. And only recently have I realized that hobbies are really what brings so much joy to our lives, and definitely learning to climb and climbing outside has given me experiences that I never thought that I ever would experience, and helping me to overcome fears that I never thought that I would overcome. So it's pretty amazing, to be honest, what a seemingly innocent hobby could do. But I want to say again, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I cannot wait to see you guys in the next video. So make sure to subscribe, like the video if you liked it. Obviously, if you didn't like it, you don't have to. And yeah, any feedback, as always, in the comments would be wonderful. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you very soon.